Let's see if this works. Awesome. I think we might be good. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure it's shared to the group.
Good morning, Timothy. Good morning, Cinch, Angela, Amanda.
Hey, Sherry, it's Amanda. Did you see my Voxer message that I sent, I think yesterday?
Let me look. I don't see any notifications, but I see a message from you. Okay.
Just whenever you have time.
Okay. Let me look while we're getting set up here. There's a spot next week.
Is it the one at 2 o'clock?
Maybe. It says 1 o'clock my time, so.
Oh, okay. Yep. So I think that's the same one.
Okay, try that.
Oh, there's tons of them now.
Uh-oh.
On Tuesday, the 29th?
Yep.
Oh, that'll work. Okay.
Unless I'm forgetting that I have something on the 29th. Wasn't on my calendar, so it's open. Okay, I don't know if I saw any questions in the chat. So if you have questions, today is a good day for them. I'm just gonna...
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So I'm gonna start doing that payroll reconciliation you mentioned last time. Wondering if you can maybe break down the steps.
Yeah, so some of that's going to be inside of the Bookkeeper Blueprint. We can also do one-to-ones for it. But from a high-level standpoint, you are going, like, so remember we were talking about you reconcile always to an outside source. So especially for any of you that have audit experience, you're always going to verify the accounting software to an outside source. So some of you, right, like we're kind of reconciling the bank to the bank. And this is the issue with a lot of you guys have no other way to do this. However, formally in QuickBooks Online, there should be a check entered for everything, a bill entered for all bills, invoices for all invoices, receive payments for any payment received, all of those things, right? So like we should have sales receipts, a receipt, and then we should have a deposit. So if we're depositing a check, there should be a deposit entered into the bank. Then when we import the bank feed, we should be matching everything on the bank feed to what's inside of QuickBooks. Because otherwise, you're pulling in stuff from the bank feed and you're saying that's 100% correct. Then we're going to reconcile to the bank statement just to make sure we have all the transactions. So what are you really doing there? You're reconciling the bank to the bank. Is that a true accounting reconciliation? No. A lot of you, that's all you have. Like that's all you're telling your clients you're going to do. They're not inputting anything into QuickBooks Online. They're just saying, hey, what's in the bank is in the bank. And there's nothing to reconcile to. So just know that that's not like formal accounting, right? Same with payroll. If we say, hey, payroll ran, this is the journal entry, it got entered, we're done. You reconciled payroll to payroll. You've reconciled QuickBooks to QuickBooks, like if you're using QuickBooks Online payroll. From there, how do you know that that's correct? So for instance, we just had someone in our unlimited one-to-one program. She came to me after Q2 was done and found some Cash App transactions that this client had. And they were payroll bonuses. So they were bonuses for training that the employee had done. On top of that, the employee was just recently terminated. Had there been like a formal payroll process and payroll reconciliation process for this individual established, she would not have had to go do amendments. On top of that, they were on like QuickBooks Payroll Core, and Payroll Core doesn't do amendments for you. As a bookkeeper, you cannot file amendments on behalf of your clients because you're not a paid tax preparer, so they have to file them. So what are we reconciling to then, right? Like, how do we know that payroll, we have everything? So one, we need systems in place for the business owner to do proper payroll and to run everything through payroll that is payroll related. So we need to educate our clients. We can educate our clients through videos, through emails, through, you know, a series of emails like newsletters. We can do trainings. If we have some sort of portal, we can say, hey, here's our best practice portal and guides. And if you're using Equip 360, you can make that really easy for your clients. You can say, hey, we have this community. If you're ever looking for a how-to, an SOP, how to improve your processes internally, you're just going to log into this and, you know, here's our recommended best practices. You can offer strategy sessions when you see processes that aren't working well. Like Amanda, I think you and I were recently talking about petty cash processes. So all of those things exist. But when we're looking at the liabilities on QuickBooks, so for instance, now this will always depend on the payroll processor you're using. Some payroll processors take the money as is, so we need to pay attention to that. So they'll take the liability out. But if there's a liability being established, like, hey, we have annual unemployment payroll taxes to pay, and they're going to come out of the bank in January, before January 31st, to pay these payroll taxes, we should see that liability being established. So we're going to reconcile it to the payroll liability report. So that works for Gusto, ADP, Paychecks, whatever oddball software you're using, but
That still doesn't have liabilities.
who doesn't?
Gusto?
Gusto withdraws it immediately. So as long as you're reconciling what's in the ledger, so keep in mind, last week I gave an example where even someone's P&L was wrong because they had manually cut checks, run the checks through payroll, which is what they're supposed to do. So you can run payroll and say, hey, Gusto, hey, ADP, hey, whoever, QuickBooks, I'm going to cut a manual check for this. So you're going to see the check clear the bank by itself. Like we hand wrote a check or whatever, but we went and put, hey, I have a check that we ran for payroll. She had duplicated that payroll. So she had this like payroll parent account with the 2 checks in it. And then she had her payroll for Gusto and the payroll section. So she had like payroll expenses and then sub accounts for wages, taxes, owner salaries, whatever she had going on there, withholdings, things like that. That reconciled to the Gusto reports. But when Megan and I were looking at the whole picture, we saw these 2 checks and we're like, well, payroll's duplicated here. And that's because you're needing to look at the whole picture of payroll. What's going on? What are the financials actually telling you? Absolutely, what's in Gusto isn't always correct. Sometimes the client makes corrections to payroll and Gusto takes the amount twice and the journal from Gusto is wrong. Yeah, you'll have to pay attention to it. So we should be additionally reconciling to those quarterly payroll reports. Like what actually left the bank? What do our reports show? What is the full story? Is this calculating correctly? Absolutely.
So like the reconciliation is just like based on the accounting software. Cause like I'm not in his office. Like I don't know these people he's paying. You know, like am I just like verifying, making sure whatever it says on Gusto is exactly what's supposed to be coming out of QuickBooks? And then I also don't want scope creep either. Like he specifically didn't pay for payroll. So like I don't know. That's why I don't want to like get too much into it. But this is my first customer, so I'm gonna go above and beyond. But I don't know how this is gonna be scalable like for everyone else. So that's why I was just curious, like what the process would be.
So Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, we include payroll reconciliation as part of our basic bookkeeping because we're delivering the balance sheet and profit and loss. So we reconcile the balance sheet. That is included in our basic monthly bookkeeping service, and it is scalable if you're priced correctly. So you might be overthinking it. a little bit. But like, how are you verifying that the financials that you're giving this client are correct? If that in and of itself is not scalable, you don't have a business yet, even if it's one client. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Any other questions? And Michelle, anyone else listening, if you would like to add, if you have any thoughts on payroll there, let me know.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, Laura.
Okay, so, okay, I'm reconciling and there are like 9. Okay, I came from desktop, and I've just started using, online, so I forget about the feed. So first, yeah, I messed it up and had to re-reconcile everything for the last 6 months. I have 8 transactions that are still hanging out there on the reconciliation part that I'm so afraid of touching those, but I know I need to clear them up. And I discovered every one of them is a credit card payment from a bank account, a business bank account. And I checked everything to see what the problem is. Every single one of them is reconciled under the credit card side, but not under the business bank side. So it's not cleared, it's just blank. What is the best way to clean it up without messing up all the previous reconciliations?
Did you just say that they're not cleared in the bank, like they didn't actually go through the bank?
They're completely cleared and reconciled on the credit card side, on those registers, but not on the business bank side.
Did we see them go through the bank? Like, can you pull up a bank statement? And
Yes, I verified they're in the credit card statement and they're in the bank statement. And I screwed up somewhere along the line, I'm not sure how, but I'm so afraid of touching this without messing up all the reconciliations, but I noticed every single one of them is completely reconciled on the credit card side, but not on the business bank side. They're not cleared or reconciled.
Okay, so real quick, just to remind everyone listening, you said you're scared of messing something up. That is 100% why we do one-to-ones. It saves you time because you're not clicking, undoing something only to go back and like, oh, that wasn't what I was supposed to do, or I didn't need to do that, right? So that's 100% why we have one-to-ones. So you can purchase like a quick call with me, Megan, one of the other coaches, and we can get on and look at it directly with you.
Okay.
Michelle brings up a good point. It could be duplicated. So what I would do real quick while you're on, pull up in QuickBooks the bank register.
Now I did check, there are no duplicates, and I looked at the
There are-
audit. There are no duplicates because I think initially, since the feed, it was put in, and then I probably deleted it early on, thinking there was a duplicate, and I kept the manual one.
Yeah,
So
okay. So you wait, you kept a manual on?
I kept the manual, not because I was learning the bank feed thing. This was new to me compared to the
Okay, so
desktop.
that's what I was asking, was in the bank register, is there a payment?
There is a payment, yes.
Okay, so we might need to delete that payment because it's not matching to the QuickBooks side. So on the bank feed, now you can go code this correctly. So you could unmatch it undo it on the credit card side and then click match on the credit card side. If it will let you do that. Otherwise, delete the manual payments, keep the bank feed ones and match them on the bank feed. Because what you're having to do right now is tell QuickBooks what those payments are.
And I don't
Because
find, I'm sorry. I can't find that transaction anywhere except for the manual one that I have.
So there's not one on the bank feed?
Well, the bank feed on QuickBooks Online, that I don't see that anywhere. I just see the transaction that was made and it was done manually. So it's somehow deleted. I deleted it somehow early on. and created a manual.
the bank feed is clear, there's nothing on the bank feed involving the credit card payments, right?
No, but it is definitely on the bank statement and it is in the register on QuickBooks Online.
Okay, so then in the ledger on QuickBooks Online, it's mapped to the credit card. So it's hitting the bank and then the credit card it's paying.
Yes.
Okay, so then you'll need to go to the credit card side. So wait, pause real quick. Your bank account should reconcile then.
Everything is reconciled completely and totally, but these are hanging out in there. And they're not, and it shows that the credit card side is reconciled, but not the bank side. So that part, that's just hanging out in there in the reconciliation that I need to clean up. And they're all
Yeah, it
identical.
sounds like you need to delete them.
If I delete
Or-
them, it'll mess up the reconciliations I've done the last 6 months.
It might, because what's going on is they're not being mapped correctly. So there is a duplicate on the back end of the system.
How do I find it if I
Do
delete
you
it?
have auto rolls set up?
Auto roll? I don't think so.
I would double check and make sure, because sometimes if like a client sets up auto rolls like accidentally or something, like you know how QuickBooks just pops up and says, hey, you've done it so many times. And if it's backwards, like when you undo it, it redoes it again incorrectly. But you have to make sure they're all turned off.
I've not heard of that. Okay, I'll look into that.
Do you mind
I
if
just want to
ask
clear
a
these out,
question
but I
real
don't know
quick,
what to
Sherry?
do.
It just sounds like, so Megan, if the client hasn't had access to it though, because it sounds like it's a desktop conversion,
Oh,
right? Like that might not be. But that would create the issue, right? So
Yeah.
absolutely it could create the issue.
Can I ask a question real quick? If you were looking at the bank register, those manual transactions that you put in, right? Because if there's a duplicate, then it should hit the credit card and the bank. And those transactions in the bank should have been cleared once, and now you have a duplicate. So if you have that manual, if you log into the bank feed or the bank register, I'm sorry, and click edit on that particular transaction, where is the other end of that transaction going?
It's going into the credit card. Now the credit card says, I wrote this down. The credit card side is under debit and the bank side is under credit, but that's how all 8 of them are.
So here's what's going on. Okay. You've, on the credit card side, it has matched to a transaction.
Yes.
So it's reconciled. What that did though, is it created like a duplicate on the bank side, because there's these manual payments that are matched and then there's these bank fee transactions. The ones that aren't clearing got matched to the credit card, but you reconciled the other ones, or vice versa. So we do need to go in to all 8 of these, and you might actually have like 12 of these.
8. I have 8.
There's 8 months, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's 6. This is
There's
6
8
months
units.
worth, but I have 8 transactions, 8 credit card, various credit cards.
So we
Here.
physically, without messing up your reconciliations, we're going to undo both sides, all of these. And we're going to delete any manual. We want them to go through the bank feed. It's going to be the cleanest way to do it. Once they're populated on the credit card side in the bank feed and on the bank feed side, just because I'm not sharing your screen right now, like the easiest way to tell you to do this is going to be undoing those, getting them back on the bank feed, and then matching them together. And then they're going to clear the bank feed. You're then going to pull back up the reconciliation, reconciling it. If you've reconciled through June 30th, just reconcile through June 30th. Clicking those, your ending balance is going to be the same, and you'll have no extras on the bank register.
How will I find those under the bank feed if that's already been kind of, I mean, there's not, how will I find it on the bank feed?
You're going to click well, you said that you're going to undo it on the credit card side.
Okay. Okay.
And then, so did you import on the bank feed side?
I did import it, but like I said, I completely forgot about the bank feed when I started entering. Now, the credit cards are not done automatically. I enter those physically, manually. And, but I forgot about the bank feed and I realized, why aren't these in here? And then after it's said and done, I went back in and realized, oh my gosh, I forgot the whole bank feed and matching and adding. So I deleted those, realizing I should have kept those and not do and delete the manual. It was a learning curve at first, enough to make it.
Okay, so I would start with the bank register. I'm gonna open that, delete it.
Okay. And add it back in or no? No, don't add it back in.
Not manually. I wouldn't at this point because so like both the credit card and the checking you did manually.
Yes, and I deleted the original bank feed from the bank side of it.
So on the credit card side worked. So I'm gonna leave the credit card side.
Okay, and I can
Because you
delete.
manually entered the credit card side, right?
Yes, yes.
So you only have 2 that aren't clearing
On
on the bank feed or on the checking.
the checking, there's 8 of them. They did perfect on the credit card side, but not on the bank feed, not on the bank register side. They're not even marked as anything. So I was gonna try to mark clear or mark R, but that throws off my reconciliation. So I didn't know if by deleting it messes. This is so complicated. And I had one of these many years ago with my business and on my own. And then the CPA kept saying, just get rid of it. I'm like, it ruined 2 years of my reconciliations by getting rid of it. So I'm just so afraid of this.
So I can tell you, Megan and I are listening to this and we're like, if you were on a 1-to-1, this would be done in 10 minutes.
I'm so sorry. I appreciate, I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I appreciate it.
No, you're okay. What I'm pointing out is it's really not that big of a deal. It's not gonna be the end of the world for your reconciliations. And 2, it sounds like you might only have 2 that you need to go delete. So if you click reconcile right now, you're reconciled through June 30th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, pull up that reconciliation for me.
Okay.
Laura, I did drop the link, and just for anybody else that's listening, even like Sherry might be able to help you and get where you need. But if anybody needs one-to-ones to share a screen or anything like that, we do individual one-to-ones. I mean, like obviously we have the program and stuff too, where you can do coaching calls and stuff. But if you just like, hey, I just have a one-off situation and need one-to-one, like we have those options for y'all.
I appreciate that because I just want to get past this. I feel like I'm stuck.
And that's what we set, and that's why we set that up, because there's been situations like that for us where it's like, if I just had somebody I could share the screen with, and fortunately we've kind of all had the coaches and stuff where we've been able to do that. So when we set this program up, that was our thought, like what would have made our life easier, especially starting out and as things come up and stuff. So
exactly. Thank you. And I'll
yeah,
be
no problem.
taking advantage of that. So I'm going to pull up reconcile. I kind of started fiddling around with that. Again, I don't want to take up any of your time and okay. So there it is.
You're muted, Sherry.
Thanks. So while Laura's pulling that up, if you have questions or if you want to raise your hand, do that. You can post them in the chat and we'll get to you next. Or we'll answer as
And if
we're
I'm taking too long, I will step out of this topic and then I will give you guys a call.
So on your June 30th reconciliation, when you you're not going to open that old reconciliation. You're going to, in essence, do a new reconciliation.
Okay.
You're going to go to reconcile.
Okay.
You're going to put June 30th, 2025. Okay. And you're going to put that same ending balance that's on the statement.
Okay.
And then you're going to click reconcile now.
Okay.
And let me know when you get there.
I'm there.
Okay. So now you open the reconciliation screen.
Okay.
And what does it tell you? As far as transactions go.
There's my eight in there, and then there's some other ones, various ones that were not an issue before. So I don't know what those are for. I see my 8 in there for sure, but there's a few others. I'll have to figure that one out.
But you reconciled perfectly through June.
Perfectly, yes.
Is it still reconciled through June?
It is. That's why I don't understand where all these came from.
Okay, so we're going to have to go one by one through each of those transactions and say what's wrong with this transaction. Does it need to be deleted or matched? Because you did it manually, they likely need to be deleted. But I would be concerned with what the date is and what the transaction is. So I'm going to pause there because it sounds like there's more than those, and I'm going to make the recommendation of like a quick
I
one-to-one.
will definitely be contacting you then. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you very much.
But I mean, 30 minutes is all you need. We'll help you click all the buttons and then be done with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Megan, unless you disagree. Okay.
Yeah,
I just don't know
totally.
what the other are.
Yeah, a lot of times if we can't see, it's hard to like we
Right.
can ask questions, but it's hard to see exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll drop the link to that real quick for you. And just so you know, this is, oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I dropped it in chat.
And that's not like a reoccurring charge or anything. That's just use it as you need it. All of those.
Okay, thank you.
Fun little. Okay. Would you ladies be able to send me a few referrals? We could. There is a contractor thread in the free group, which we can always like, if you're talking to someone and you want our opinion, you can ask us, or you can post in the paid group directly and see who's available. And then same thing. I always recommend going through the paid group just because if they get stuck and they're on like unlimited, they can get on a one-to-one with us without having to go back like through you, unless you want them to go through you, right? Like if you want them to like, hey, ask Sherry, hey, ask Megan, can you just do that for me? They have the one-to-ones to use typically, or they can use yours, like your one-to-ones. And that really goes with anyone that you bring on as a contractor can always use your one-to-ones. We were talking, Megan, on Tuesday night during the co-working call that, you know how we started like talking about the election going into like October, November of like, hey guys, we're seeing this like on the online space. Last year was like the only year that I have seen bookkeeping services go down so drastically. So like we were talking and I was like, hey, if like you should be getting calls, you should be getting discovery calls right now. You should be citing clients right now in July through tax season. Really, but it starts here. And that's based on like what, 6 years of you and I, like even your business, I think you started 1 year ahead of me. That year, it was like June through October, right? Like that you really started pushing or like July through. Last year was the only year, like you can see in my financials, that it's like I still signed clients and I got a couple of big clients, so it didn't skew it as much, but like the number of clients that I signed, definitely, like number of discovery calls all of those things dropped. Part of that was what I was doing with marketing, let's be real. Other part of that we were reflecting on was just, I really think last year was like an anomaly of the election impacting us a lot sooner than we were kind of talking about it in the online space. So with that said, if you guys are marketing, you should be getting clients and you should be getting sales calls. You should be getting emails right now. So if you're not marketing, or if you're like, hey, I've got another month, the time is now. We've been seeing this since May of this year, like people saying, hey, now it's time to get that bookkeeper figured out. So, and that's normal. I feel like right after tax season, April's like, oh my gosh, like April, you might not be signing clients. People are just trying to get done. But around vacations, people start looking at that back to school. Oh, hey, what can I, I'm doing this for my kid. What can I also be doing for my business? So for sure. Yeah. Like after the election settled, because even in January, like immediately in January, I had 2 people reach out and they're like, okay, we're ready. I was like, okay, just very much something. And I mean, we get that elections like impact the economy, they impact sales. It was just the first election I had seen impacted to that degree. Like the election before it, like was chaotic. And just, I'm not going to make a political statement, but it was, like a thing. But I didn't see it impact my business per se.
Well, I think for me, like I know I felt like I was still too early on to have noticed, honestly, either way, and it also was, like you said, chaotic from the standpoint of like COVID was happening, like all the things. So some small businesses, it was still in the top of their mind, like, hey, we need to do bookkeeping because they're trying to get grants, they're trying to get loans. So it was like super important. Whereas this was just like, hey, this is like a true normal election time, I feel like, because you hear, I mean, we heard that from business coaches and stuff saying that like lead the entire year. Okay, election year is different. Okay, election year is different. Like you're gonna see sales drop. So I don't know if
Yeah, I
that
think I
was
was
like a
just growing my
true
business.
reflection. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just didn't, like, I was doing all the hustle. So
Right.
yeah. But you're right. Like there was the, idle loan, there was the PPP, there was all of these things that people were trying to get, and the ERC credit
Yep.
that they had to have the bookkeeping for. So maybe that really did skew that election for us because of the field that we're in, where it potentially in the online space. And online space was actually a little different then too. It changed again. So fun fact, just as we were talking on Tuesday, we're like, hey, we see this. We were kind of taking some stats. So,
and it's definitely picked back up though. I mean, like what we're seeing throughout everybody that we're talking to is people are getting discovery calls. So and clients. So it's definitely time to, like, if you're not marketing, to make sure you are marketing for sure.
and that, I mean, we had someone last year during the election, she grew from like 0 to 5K in like those 2 months, like, with tiny clients. It's not like she got like a $3,000 a month client. So they were just normal, steady clients. So that was just some encouragement. If you are feeling like, can I do it this year? Can I meet these goals? Should I be marketing? How much should I be pushing? Should I be resting before the storm? Whatever. Slow and steady will win the race, like at the end of the day. So it's better to do something every week. And what that does is it allows you, when there is an opportunity for you to get your name out further or to get picked up by a Facebook group and just loved on by a podcast or whatever, you'll be ready for it. Versus like, there's just something about sitting and then being like bombarded that doesn't work. Or expecting to, well, in October, I'll have 10 clients come to me. A, you're not going to be able to keep up going from 0 to 10. 2, you would have to like strike gold in terms of like the audience that you get in front of. So what is the plan there? Whereas if you start now slow and steady, 10 clients by the end of October is possible. Or at the revenue of, like, if you're doing, so we're going into August, end of October. So let's call it 3,000 a month by the end of October. Is that possible? Yeah. Going from 0 to 10,000, is that possible? It's possible. Everything's possible. That might be a stretch though. Oh, that's amazing. I think we talked about that a little bit. Cool, congratulations. And that's a good reminder. So when we're networking, when we're talking to other CPAs, when we're talking to tax strategists, when we're talking to other bookkeepers, you know, that's not the first time. Megan, you had a story where another bookkeeper was doing like some door-to-door kind of meeting other bookkeepers, meeting business owners. She met a bookkeeper, and that bookkeeper was like, hey, I don't want anyone in this level. Here's a book of business. Right?
Yeah, she ended up with like, I want to say it was 36 clients or something from it, but it was literally like, hey, I'm just going to go to all these businesses in the shopping center. One happened to be a bookkeeping business, went in, dropped a card off, didn't even get to talk to the owner while she was in there. He called her back later and yeah, said they were revamping their business. They were only working with certain size clients if she was interested in taking over the books for the smaller clients. And yeah, 36 clients just from that one interaction.
That is pretty cool. I will say it does take work to go through shopping centers. So I did
This
try
was
that.
also, yeah, this was also like pre-COVID. So like you were doing a lot more in person at the time and all the things. Like obviously now things have changed a little bit. I do feel like from like the standpoint of getting clients all over the US and like virtually doing everything virtually, I feel like it's easier almost now than it was then because everybody was a little leery at that time because it was still kind of like you weren't sure, can we do everything virtually? And then like COVID, everybody saw you had no choice, you know.
Yeah. For sure. It definitely changed the environment. And I think there's a kind of a push like, hey, we want someone local. We want, you know, there's still all of that goes on. But with bookkeeping, like you can have, we've talked about this a couple of times on the co-working call recently, just because of pricing. So pricing is like, you know, we encounter bookkeepers. I went through this. I'm sure Megan, I think you've gone through this where it's like, how low do I price to get the yes? Of just like, where do I want my business to fall? What do I want my business to look like? I don't know if she's still on. Let's see. Yeah, she is. Okay, so I'm picking on one of you. Just full disclosure. Private chat me if you want me to stop at any time. So we were talking about her pricing, and I was like, can we just raise it $100 each package? And her response back to me was, but I'm already being told I'm too high. It is rare that I have to price someone at like $150 or $100 a month. And I'm talking like, I did just price someone super low, Megan. And it's because it's one rental property, one invoice, triple net invoice, so 2 invoices, and like 10 expenses, and they signed for like $140, $150 a month. Like, it's not a lot of bookkeeping to do 1 unit, 2 invoices, match a payment, right? Like, there's only 1 tenant. That would be right. Like, it doesn't make sense to pay $250 a month for that particular client, like, unless it's a larger unit. So with this particular bookkeeper, I challenged it, and I was like, we could still have the 150 option, but like, limit the number of people you even sign into that package, just on the grand scheme of things. Like, make it the exception. Like, I have this, but very few people qualify to be in this package, is what I wound up telling her. Of like, just because sometimes it's easy to like get on a sales call and be like, well, I've got this package. You're only over by 50 transactions, and you actually have this other savings account, and you have a credit card, and you have payroll. But yeah, I'll do all of that work for 150 to 250 a month. Yeah, I'll make that work, and you're gonna regret it. Like, because we were talking about one of her clients, and she was priced around 250. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you're listening. And when she got done, I was like, my gut says that client should have been $400 to $500 a month. And she was like, yeah, they really should be. So, okay, so since bookkeeping services says I'm asking, yeah, that's gonna be up to your firm, really, at the end of the day. I have done so many different accounting softwares in the course of even my business. I have found that it's easier to scale if I focus on one. The exception would be if I did QBO and Xero and had someone, like, I've touched Xero before, but if I had someone who knew Xero, the only problem is, like, are you training them? Do you have a team member training, like, the next staff member? If, you have a team member that's doing Xero and you don't know, well, and that's where, are we setting up a business, or are we doing the work ourselves? Yeah. I don't know that one is better than the other specifically. I think it's going to be your preference.
The business owner is asking to use on their side. I mean, what are there certain, like, are they going to be doing the bookkeeping themselves?
Yeah, we might need more information, because like a lot of restaurants, Michelle, feel free to pipe up if you want to. They're going to use some sort of POS system in addition to their bookkeeping software. So like, and I don't know what type of restaurant, like bakery, sit down, do they have a bar, like all of those things. But like, if you think about yourself from the user going to a restaurant, like, it's my daughter's birthday today, we're gonna go do pizza. I know when I go up to that specific thing, they're going to turn their Clover system around, and I'm going to enter my payment into Clover. which is going to feed into QuickBooks or Xero. There's another one. We have a burger joint here that we love. They use Toast. So they flip their little POS system around and I swipe it and it's Toast and I get a receipt from Toast, and or I can order through Toast or DoorDash or whatever it is, really depending on how they're set up, what type of restaurant. You know, if it's like Cheesecake Factory, they're still using a POS system and their servers have a little tablet that they're either going to walk to and ring it into, or they're going to carry a little tablet around with them and they're just going to enter it there. Like I did this with a Mexican restaurant the other day. She physically, I think they were using Clover on the back end too. And she had the little insert, like, it was kind of a tablet, but it was like a tablet. It was a little slightly different. There's different levels of Clover and the POS systems that you could actually like devices you could use. And so they still like turn it around and you can put your email in to get an email receipt or whatever. So both Xero though and QuickBooks will integrate to both Clover and Toast. Megan, so we do have different levels of coaching. So we have the Bookkeeper Blueprint, which is one of our two most popular levels of coaching. So you'll get access to the course, you'll get access to co-working calls, all of what we do during the week. That comes with two direct one-to-one coaching, like private coaching sessions. No, it does not. I forgot.
No, because we dropped the price and took those away.
We dropped the Megan's like, stop talking. I totally forgot. Yeah. Then we have, if you want the one-to-one, like private coaching where you can get on a call with me and Megan, is the unlimited premier version of the Bookkeeper Blueprint. And that one is like our most popular for those who are like, this is going to be my primary income, or I just don't want to waste time on getting this from 0 to 3,000 a month. Or I'm at 3,000, I want to go to 10 or 20,000 a month. So, so the one-to-one coaching, you're going to probably want the premier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the link for that.
We have Amanda, you're in that program, right? Yeah, you are. So like Amanda, for instance, when we first got on today, she was like, hey, can you open your calendar? Because I have a couple of appointments going on. And she was like, I would like to book with you this week. We've been meeting to cover like SEO and bookkeeping and just all the things. Like it's not just bookkeeping in that level. It's whatever gets you to where you need to be. And there's 12 of us.
Coaches. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And so like, if you need help with payroll reconciliations, you know, we'd probably send, you know, Cameron to Abby Super, who is going to walk him through payroll start to finish. Cleanups. We love cleanups. And it's going to be like the most direct way to like, you know, like in Laura's situation, we recommended a coaching call. And that was because like, so we spent 15 minutes just talking about it, 10 minutes talking about it here today on the podcast. She's also been looking at it. She's probably got 3 to 5 hours, if not more, into this reconciliation issue that she's having. Whereas going straight to a private coaching call, 30 minutes, you're done. Like, hey, I have an issue. I just remember last time I did it, it messed up 2 years. Is that going to be my reality? Or is there a better way to do it? And we're going to be like, oh, praise God that there's not that reality anymore. Because I've been there, I've done that, Laura. I've done something similar when I first got started. And this is we can probably answer 2 questions, but we're going to say, hey, Laura, go ahead and let's focus on one question. And then if there's extra time, we're going to ping her for more like, hey, what else are you dealing with this client or anything else in your business? So, cool. Tasha, if you have any questions, feel free to, you can DM me and Megan, or me or Megan, if you want more information.
And if you
or
need to
wanna
hop on a, yeah, if you need to hop on a call to talk about it, we can do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. What is your Facebook handle? Megan, can we find her on Facebook? And on that note, I've got to jump off for a call. But we'll get you scheduled.
Yeah, I found you on Facebook, so I'll start a message with us and get something scheduled with you.
Cool. Sounds good. Bye guys. See you next
Awesome.
week.
Bye. How's it going?